Look at them! They brought an army! We brought something worse! When that horn sounds, you stop being men! You become the darkness they told stories about! No mercy! No hesitation! Let them see what war actually looks like! Become a monster!
There was a version of you that tried to fit. You remember him. He woke up early, smiled when he didn't mean it, laughed at jokes that weren't funny because silence made people uncomfortable. He filed himself down, smoothed every sharp edge, swallowed every fire, shrunk himself into shapes that made the world feel safe around him. And it almost killed him. Not the world, the shrinking. The slow daily act of becoming less than what you actually are, that is the thing that nearly ended you. Not the enemies, not the betrayal, the pretending. Acting like you were built for a quiet life when everything inside you was screaming for war. You were never built for normal. Normal is a cage designed for men who are afraid of what lives inside them. And for a long time, you sat in that cage. Not because you belonged there, because no one told you what you were. No one looked at you when you were young and said the reason everything feels wrong is because you are not like them. You are not wired for their version of peace. You are carrying something older and heavier and more dangerous than anything a normal life can contain. So you suffered, quietly. You sat in rooms that were too small for you. Jobs that bored your soul to death.
Not born, willed into being by Morgoth the Black.
Relationships where you had to perform a softer version of yourself just to be tolerable. And every night, you'd lie there, staring at the ceiling, feeling something clawing at the walls of your chest. Not anger, something deeper. A knowing. A certainty you couldn't prove to anyone that this was not your life. That this small, predictable, ordinary existence was someone else's blueprint, and you were forced into it like a sword shoved into a drawer. But a sword doesn't stay in a drawer forever. The day it came out, the day you stopped pretending, is the day the world started calling you dangerous. Not because you hurt anyone, because you stopped performing. You stopped smiling on command, stopped explaining yourself, stopped apologizing for the weight in your voice and the fire behind your eyes. And people, normal people, comfortable people, they felt it. They felt the shift, and it terrified them. Good, because what they call dangerous, heaven calls ready. What they call too much, God calls exactly enough. They wanted a version of you that fit inside their understanding. But you were never supposed to be understood. You were supposed to be Christ, no. You were supposed to be felt, the way a storm is felt before it arrives. The way the ground trembles before something ancient rises from beneath it. They told you to calm down, settle, be realistic, find a normal job, a normal life. A normal way to exist in a world that rewards obedience and punishes intensity. And you tried. You tried so hard to be what they wanted that you forgot what you were. But God didn't forget. He watched you suffer inside that small life and he waited. Not because he enjoyed it, because he needed you to reach the moment where normal became so unbearable that you'd never go back to it. Not for love. Not for money, not for peace. Never again. That moment already happened. You know exactly when. It was the night you stopped caring what they thought. The night the last opinion that mattered stopped mattering. Something snapped, not broke, snapped into place. Like a bone that had been dislocated for years, finally cracking back where it belonged. And it hurt, but the pain was clean, holy, even. The kind of pain that comes with alignment, with becoming what you were always supposed to be before the world taught you to be less. Now look at you. You walk into rooms, and the temperature changes. You speak and something in the air gets heavier. People watch you, not because you demand attention, because your presence demands something they can't name. You carry yourself like a man who buried the version of himself that needed approval and walked away from the grave without looking back. That is not arrogance, that is architecture. God built you this way, heavy, intense, uncontainable. And then he placed you in a world that wasn't ready for you, not as punishment, but as assignment. You are the disruption, the correction, the thing that walks into comfortable rooms and reminds everyone that comfort is not the same as purpose. They will never understand you. Stop waiting for it. The man who is too dangerous for a normal life does not get the luxury of being understood. He gets the burden of being necessary. He doesn't get invited. He gets deployed. He doesn't fit. He fractures whatever he's placed inside until it reshapes around him or breaks entirely. And that is your gift. The thing you spent years calling a curse, the intensity they medicated, the anger they pathologized, the fire they said was a problem. It was never a problem. It was the engine of something they couldn't see because they were too comfortable to look. You are not too much. The world is too small. And somewhere right now, someone is lying awake in the same cage you once sat in, feeling the same clawing in their chest, the same knowing they can't explain, the same quiet desperation of a man who was never meant for the life he's been living. And when they find you, your voice, your words, your refusal to be anything less than what you are, they'll understand for the first time that they're not broken. They're dangerous. And dangerous was always the point. So stop mourning the normal life you never got. It was never yours. It was a decoy, a test, a counterfeit piece designed to keep you contained, while the real war waited for you to wake up. And you're awake now, fully, permanently. There is no going back to sleep. There is no returning to the small life, the safe life, the version of you that made everyone comfortable. That man is dead, and what stands in his place doesn't ask permission to exist. He just does. Heavy, scarred, uncontainable, too dangerous for a normal life, and finally free because of it.